welcome to the Mentor Me panel about the college experiences. Today we have with us Arshia, Shushti, and Sonia. Why don't you guys go around and introduce yourselves?
Well, hi guys, I'm Arshia G. I'm a second year student of the University of Commerce and Business, also known as NUCB. We're located in Mission or Nagoya, Japan, obviously. It's a 4-year long course and I'm doing my BBA.
And I'm a second year at the University of British Columbia. My course is technically 4 years, but if you finish your credit requirements earlier, you're allowed to graduate earlier. And I'm double majoring in economics and psychology.
Hi guys, I'm Sanya. I'm a second year student at Royal Holloway. My degree is in BSc Management with Marketing. It's a 3-year program.
So usually our college doesn't follow a normal college's day. Like we don't have classes back to back. Okay. Instead, we have either a morning session or an afternoon session or both. Okay. Morning sessions run from 9:20 a.m. to 1 p.m. with a 20-minute break in the middle. And afternoon sessions run from 1:40 p.m. to 5:20 p.m. with another 20-minute break in the middle. So for my first semester, I mainly have morning classes, which gave me a lot of free time, right? So after classes, I'd usually head to like a cafe on campus, eat my lunch, and then probably catch the bus back to my dorm, where I finish my homework in preparation for the next classes. Then I usually call my family or friends. And yeah, I guess I prepare my dinner, watch some Netflix, go outside, Yeah, that's my normal day.
For me, it really depends on what day of the week it is because so our classes have Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Tuesday, Thursday. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday classes are 50 minutes long, and Tuesday, Thursday, they're about an hour and a half long. So depending on how you schedule your class, for me, I had like a pretty balanced schedule the entire week. So I'd probably start class around 9 in the morning, and then I'd finish around 2 in the afternoon, and then I'd get lunch, come back, watch some Netflix, and then start on homework. And then I guess I'd go out and like meet some friends or like go to like a club meeting or something. And then I'd come back, get dinner with some friends, and then we'd like study till like midnight or later than that. And then I'd probably sleep by like 2 or 3 in the morning.
Okay, so like Shashi said, it really depends on the day. And in term 1, on Mondays and Wednesdays, I didn't have class at all. And in term 2, I didn't have class on Wednesdays at all. On most of the days during both semesters, I had classes only after 12 p.m. So it gave me the freedom to wake up late. But this doesn't mean like whatever course you take that you would have classes late, because I did know people who had classes at 8 a.m. And then for me, I would have to get up. First thing I had to do is make breakfast because I was not in a catered hall. So I was cooking all my meals. Then I would head to classes around 12, and then I would be back around anywhere between 4 or 6. Then I would relax in my room. I could go to a club or society meeting, hang out with my flatmates, and then usually like the university has something going on in the night, so I'd just be out.
Well, okay, for me, the best part is like my campus is absolutely stunning. It's so aesthetically pleasing, like from the pathways to the roads to even the classrooms on the inside. It's so beautiful. But if I had to pick the worst part, like college is so big. It gets annoying at one point when you're running late to classes, as Japan buses run on time, on the dot. So if you miss a bus, you're running 2 kilometers all the way to your school, to your dorm, from dorm, and like, it's such a rush, and then there's stairs everywhere. So you're just rushing to get there on time. I mean, the other things, like for me, my housing, honestly, the best thing about our housing is like, our dorm rooms are fully equipped. Like my room is like a mini kitchen, like a mini studio. So like we have private washing machines, kitchenettes, refrigerators, bathrooms, microwaves. So it makes life so much easier. But again, bad things about Japanese housing is because they're saving up on space. Dorms are smaller than a normal dorm would be, and walls are pretty thin. So if you're the kind of person who plays music super loud, no go.
For me, the best part is, like Arshia said, even my campus is like really beautiful, and it snows like 3 times in a year. So in that sense, it's like, it's not too bad. it's not the college's worst part, but like living in Vancouver, worst part is that it's always raining. So like it's raining like around 80% of the time. And then I'd also say that because first year residents don't have kitchens, you have to like buy the expensive food from the dining halls, which is not all that great or healthy. So I think that's one of the bad parts. But I think other than that, like our dorms are okay. Some of the dorms are like pretty new, so all of the fittings and stuff are pretty great, and you have like laundry and stuff in the ground floor, and everything's pretty accessible. But yeah, campus is big. Sometimes it's a little annoying when you're trying to get to class, but then like it's not too bad if you like make sure to leave on time.
I think for me personally, what I love a lot of things about the university. For one, the campus is really beautiful. It's like one of those old England buildings. It's really big. I just love sitting in front of it. Another thing I do love is the 24-hour library. So like if my flatmates are being loud or if they're having a great time, I can just leave and go and study in the library for a bit. Then other things are that the professors are really approachable. So anytime I've had an issue, I can always like go up to my professors, and we did have like a personal tutor who you could contact in case you needed anything in the first year. One thing I do not like about my campus is walking uphill. There is a lot, it's like on a hill, so you have to walk up a lot of up and downhill. And another issue with my university, I wouldn't say with my university actually, is just the location. Because although it is called University of London, we aren't in London. We are in a small town in the suburbs of London called Egham, and I get quite bored in small towns. So for me, that's been a bit of an issue because I I need something like to see. I like going to the museums. So for me, that's I think the worst part.
Well, so in my, I guess like it changes from person to person, obviously. Like most of our students are pretty social because my college follows a method in which everyone is required to participate in classes. So everyone really does a lot of teamwork. So our college is like all the students are like a big family, you could say, because everyone gets along really well. And like we are social, very social, but then there are antisocial people too. But I guess that's like the case with most universities. And like since we take classes with exchange students, we get to like interact with them pretty frequently. So we all like to like plan get-togethers, going out, getting dinner together, or just hanging out and spending time. So yeah, I would say we're pretty social.
I think for UBC, it's a pretty big university by itself. It's like around 60,000 students. So I think in that sense, we have like people over like pretty distributed over the entire like social antisocial spectrum. Obviously like you find your people, so I mean it really depends on how you show yourself and how you portray yourself as a person, as whether you want to be social or antisocial, because like there's always events happening everywhere. And like the alma mater society, which is the AMS, they run a lot of events on campus for people to like get to know each other. And like there's also like events held by the residence advisors, so there's always like ways to get to know people. And I think in terms of that, like you can't really like say that people are social or antisocial. You have your different kinds of people and you just find who you gel with.
Yeah, I think like I completely agree with Shrishti that the all universities are just really filled with different kinds of people. They're not just social or antisocial. My university too had like a lot of events. Like they had something called International Tea Time. So a lot of international students would go there and get tea together, or like they would have like a pizza night, Disney movie night, and so you could always attend these events and like find people who are like into the same stuff as you. Plus clubs and societies. We had like stuff like Harry Potter Society. We had something called, I think, Zombies versus Humans, where like they were just like shooting each other with Nerf guns. It's like great fun, and like it's like teams things. And then obviously there's a sports society, so you can always meet people there. Another thing I found really interesting about my university's events is that any event, they always had something called a silent hour, an hour before the uh, main event. And in this hour, basically, if you are like get really worked up by crowds, or if you don't like being around a lot of sound, in this hour you could apply to go to the event in that hour, and then actually see the event before everyone else came in. So the university was really supportive in that manner.
Right. So I agree with Sanya and Shrishti. Like, but the thing about Japanese universities is that we don't really have sororities or like groups after school. We have circles, which are like club activities, but those are more based on your sports or like dancing. Well, yeah, so like our college does like prepare a lot of things for the international students. Like we also have like tea ceremony parties, or we have flower arrangement parties, which are like a very big thing in Japan. They also do take us on a lot of trips. Like we went out for like a food trip in which we went out trying different foods, or like we went on like a trek, a huge trek to through the forests, which was pretty cool. So we do have a lot of ways students get to meet each other and actually get to spend time together too outside school. So I'll start off with this one. So my college, actually, we have a focused campus just for the undergraduates, and we have different campuses for our master's students. So like our campus, yes, we do have like Japanese classes and the international students. So like, yeah, they do give us a lot of attention. I mean, they do give us a lot of like scholarship opportunities, or like they have a special board which helps us get jobs and internships as foreign students. So I guess they do give us a lot of support that way.
I think between like graduate and undergraduate, there's a greater portion of students in the undergraduate section of the university. So there's definitely like more attention being given to us. Um, Graduate students have their own parts on campus, but we don't really like notice a big difference in the way we're treated or anything like that. In fact, I'd say that they're actually like more helpful towards undergraduate students because they're kind of like there's a lot of like resources on campus to help undergraduate students get into the university life, and like there's like these workshops on campus, and there's tax clinics on campus to help us like understand all of these things that, you know, they're very adulty and like you've never done them before, like filing taxes or something like that. And also in terms of like getting jobs and stuff, they have like a platform where everyone just posts job postings and like you can apply from there. So like I think I'd say that the undergraduate society is pretty well supported, and each of the faculties have their own undergraduate society. So there's like an arts undergraduate society, a science undergraduate society. So I'd say even more focus in terms of that.
Yeah, so for us, the undergrads and the postgrads are in this on the same campus, and I did do a leadership development program where I did get to mingle with the postgraduate students, and I noticed that like they aren't treated much differently from us, uh, and it's not like there's more time spent on them or anything. One interesting thing, like for us, it was that like during careers days and stuff for undergrads, they do hold them quite regularly, once or twice a term. And in the month of March, they held like a diversity career day. So if you're part of a diverse group, then you can apply for the jobs on that particular day, and you're more likely to get it because if you are from a diverse group. And I found that really interesting, but I couldn't attend it because by the time the event was supposed to happen, I had to return for COVID lockdowns. And I think one great thing they have for the undergraduates is that you do get to mingle with them in societies. But I think a lot of times the societies get postgrad students to like talk to you and about your course if it's like a course related society. So I think there's an advantage to having both on campus. But some of the housing, some of the places that you can live, the halls, they have like both postgrad and undergrad students. So I find that really helpful.
Okay, so for us, like the best part of like my university's housing again is like it's fully equipped, but we don't exactly have any in campus cafeterias. Like we don't have a cafeteria in our dorms. So everything we do, we have to cook for ourselves, or we can go to convenience stores and buy, because food is not as expensive. It is expensive, but not very. So, I mean, everything is pretty set for us. But yeah, you need to know to cook to an extent, unless you're like living on ramen and noodles like me. But yeah, I mean, again, like our dorms, since they're single occupancy, we don't have roommates. So that does give you freedom and like space. And I really require my personal space. So I think of it as a perk. But I guess, like, again, the worst thing about housing is we don't have big rooms, so space is always an issue. Like, a lot of people want to decorate their dorm rooms, but like when your space is low, you don't really have space. You don't have enough area to do it. Again, one of the good things about my dorm is like we don't exactly have a time to return to dorms. Like we don't have curfews. Our dorms are 24/7. You can enter, leave whenever you want. So if you're hungry at 3 a.m., no one is stopping you from going to the convenience store and coming back. It's pretty peaceful.
So there's a difference between first year housing and after first year housing. It's called upper year housing. So for first year housing, we have three like residences, and each of them, like one of them is really new, which is the one I stayed in. And then there's two old ones. So based on that, like you apply and then you get into them. And first year housing is like guaranteed. Like if you have a spot, you have a spot in housing as well. I think the cons of first year housing is that you don't have a kitchen, and you have to like eat the cafeteria food, which I mentioned earlier, which isn't that great, but like you kind of get used to it. And we also have like a lot of restaurants and like cafes on campus, so you can like order from them, and I think Domino's delivers to like 3 in the morning, so you're pretty much set in terms of like if you're hungry in the night. There's also like DoorDash and Uber Eats and stuff like that, but that's a little expensive if you ask me. So that's kind of like only for emergency situations. I think dorm itself, like Arsha said, is there's no curfew. You can like enter and leave whenever you want. There's always like it's 24/7 front desk, and like all of those facilities are there. And then there's also like a recreational room on first year res. So like there's like you can play pool, or like there's a ping pong table and things like that, which is pretty cool. I think for upper year housing is you have a kitchen, and like compared to first year housing, it's a little more relaxed because in first year housing, there's a lot of rules that you have to follow in terms of like parties and stuff like that. But once you get to like upper year housing, it's more of like what your roommates are okay with and what they're not. So in that sense, you have a lot more freedom if you get to choose your own roommates. I think other than that, campus is like pretty well equipped. Like there's a lot of like, there's 2 major gyms, and then there's a lot of like sports facilities, and there's like a huge swimming pool, and then the bus loop is pretty close. So like I'd say that all of the facilities on campus are pretty top class.
Okay, so at Royal Holloway, we have like different kinds of halls depending on like what you want. We have catered halls, so if you don't want to cook, there is an option where you can get food. We have non-catered halls, so like the one I lived in, I had a kitchen. So for me, that got pretty exhausting, especially in the first couple of months when I wasn't used to like college life and cooking for myself like all the time. It got quite exhausting. And the options for restaurants in the city, like in this town, is quite limited because we're in a small town. There are like some places to eat on campus, which is great. Uh, and they're like different kinds of rooms. So you can have like a shared room. You can have your own personal room and your personal bathroom. You can have a personal room but a shared bathroom. So they're like different kinds of rooms for different kinds of people. You can find what suits you best. I stayed in a personal room with a personal bathroom, and the kitchen was shared. And one thing I liked about that was that it gave me the opportunity to talk to people who are not in my course and get close to them. Because even though you can run into these people in your societies, it's really hard to click with them if you don't spend that much time with them. So I really like that part about staying in halls. Another thing for me is that I have noticed that it can be the other way around too, that I had a friend who stayed in halls and had flatmates she did not like at all. So sharing a flat in that sense can get tough sometimes. And so it's really up to what suits you best. Uh, like if you don't like anyone, you have a personal room and a personal bathroom. You really don't have to run into people. To find what suits you best is really the way to go, because some people go to catered halls, they don't like the catered food. I don't i don't like sandwiches, salads, so I took a non-catered hall.
Right. So again, coming back after listening to Shrishti and Sanya, yes, our college is huge, like I said. So we have a lot of sports facilities too. We have 7 tennis courts, we have a basketball court, we have a baseball field, we have football fields. So like for the sports circles, it's pretty fun for anyone who's really interested in that. And then again, coming back, yeah, in our college, we do have several cafeterias. Like, I mean, during school hours, we have for our cafe, which is like most of the students' favorite place to be. Everywhere has great Wi-Fi. So usually people like to sit and actually work while they're eating. And then we have other cafeterias which sell proper food, which is Japanese. And then we also have a 7-Eleven on campus, which makes life such a blessing because who doesn't need that in the middle of class food? Best.
We have like we have like something called Price Center, and like Price Center has like, it has Burger King, it has like a Greek place, it has like, doesn't have a sushi place, it has Panda Express, and like it has like a burrito place. So that's like, and it's in the middle of campus, so it's top 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 quality stuff.
We also have like a convenience store on campus, but that's like, it's pretty small. It doesn't have a lot of stuff. But right next to the convenience store, there's like this food court where they have like Indian food, Asian food, and like a bubble tea place. So I think in terms of that, you're pretty covered in terms of food, because there's like a burger place, Tim Hortons, which is like the Starbucks of Canada, and like other places on campus where you can get food with your student card itself, so you like don't even have to pay out of your bank account.
Yeah, so like Shrishi said, that we also have like a couple places to eat. We have Tommy's for burgers. We have something called Kimiko. And to add, on Tuesday, we have like a farmer's market kind of deal. So you get fresh fruits and vegetables, and you also get like, they also have like a small Asian market where they get Asian food. And there are like stalls from like in like a place called Momo's. There's a Spanish food place, like a Mexican food place, and a duck pancake place. So it's quite interesting on Tuesdays where you have like all these options. And unlike Shishti, we don't have Tim Hortons, we have actual Starbucks. So yeah, we have a couple on campus. Starbucks is usually open till 4 in the library because the library is 24 hours. So if you're like up late into the night and really need a coffee, that's really helpful.
We have Starbucks too. We have options.
Well, I mean, like, I don't think you'd ever be fully at home anywhere you go because, like, the thing about Japan is, like, I'm extremely comfortable. The people, as you go, the first day I landed in Japan, I got lost with my family. We could not figure out the trains. So we just went up. I went to someone, I'm like, please help me. How do I get to this place? I was like, Sakai, Sakai. And people are like, is she mad? Because in Japan, like, sake is alcohol, right? So they were looking at me like I wanted to drink, but me and my parents are just trying to go to the city. So yeah, eventually we were found. So like people are really, really helpful back there. Like even if you don't understand the language, like, usually you would think the language is a big barrier. But surprisingly in Japan, people always are trying their best to help you out no matter what. So even if they don't know what you're saying, they will try their best. So you always feel comfortable. You never feel like, God, I'm scared, I'm stuck in a situation. You always feel it pretty much comfortable.
There wasn't like a specific eureka moment. I think like when I landed there and like I saw the place, I was really happy in the sense that I was like, okay, I've made a good choice. But I guess like feeling at home really came from like the friends that I made. Like on the first day, I met my best friend that I made over there. So like things like that, you're like, okay, this is a good choice. Like this is something that I've done right. And I guess like Canadians kind of do fit the stereotype where you're like, oh, are they all like always like really nice? Yes, they are. They're actually really nice like all the time. And you'll find like maybe two people who will like not help you, but literally anyone you ask for help will be like, yeah, sure, I can help you out. So there's definitely like that, which also makes you feel pretty at home. And also like the campus is really beautiful. So I think that also made me really happy, because like seeing like all of this like really pretty buildings and stuff like that also makes you happy in a sense. And like we have a beach on campus. Like what more do you need?
That's true. That's true. I always say the best colleges are the ones that have beaches on campus or like 5 minutes walking distance. I am that as well. Yes.
Okay, like I think I agree with what Arsha said, where she was just like, there's no place that you can truly feel at home other than home itself, because uh, you have your parents to help you out with so much. But for me, I would say that I did start feeling comfortable when I started to get along with my flatmates. I'm not gonna lie. For like the first 2 months, we hardly spoke. I did not know them, they did not know me. We would just come into the kitchen, cook, and leave. So I truly felt like I was fitting in when I started feeling comfortable with them, because I felt comfortable coming back to my flat. Another thing that really made me feel at home-ish and comfortable there is the fact that I had a friend from TISB who was at the same university as me, and she was in the same course. So like we always had like things to relate and talk about, like about Bangalore, about school. So anytime I was homesick, I could talk to her. Yeah, there was no specific eureka moment. It was just, I just kind of went along with it till I felt comfortable enough to be like, yeah, you know what, I feel relaxed when I come back now. It's not like this tense thing, oh my God, I have to cook, I have to do this, I have to do that.
So yes, as you said, you are right. I am the first one in Japan from TISB at least. I don't know about the other schools. But for this question, why should they consider Japan? Again, this was my personal choice because Japan was my decision because I absolutely love the culture. From the food to the people to the actual place, it's such an amazing place, which is why I actually decided, okay, why don't I try? I met like a college in the college fairs, and it really made me like want to discover more and actually go there, because like now if I go around in Japan, it's such a pretty place. Like in the winters, you have all the trees without the leaves, but they have lights everywhere. So it's such a pretty place. It makes you feel so good inside. So like again, now one thing that sticks out about my university, not making it better per se, but like this is just one thing about my university that is different from most universities in the world, is like we follow an interesting curriculum which is called the case method. Okay, so it's really alluring because like instead of doing the traditional textbook and like exam method to learn, we use actual case studies from the world. So that actually gives you an insight to real problems that are faced in the business world, right? So this method isn't really seen in most universities, which is why it's pretty unique. And it's a very fun way to actually learn things, because hands-on experience always does give you that extra boost, to like work better. So yeah, I mean, that's one thing that stands out about my university, which is why I say I'm always happy. I'm really happy with my choice in the end of the day.
So I'd say that in terms of making it similar to an American school is that we have like the whole declare your major a year or two after you enter the university, which like gives you time to explore different subjects and like see what you actually like. I think in terms of different from an American university is that it's definitely cheaper. And I'd also go as far to say that it's more diverse in terms of like international students who come in, because I think UBC itself has like about students from I think around 170 countries around the world, which is quite a lot. And I think other than like being less expensive, it's also like better value for money, because you're like getting to stay in a place where at some point you'll actually get a job, because in Canada, like the whole immigration system is kind of more open towards getting people to immigrate rather than not, compared to the US. So I think that's also something that I took into account. And also like UBC itself is SAT optional, which is something that was pretty important to me because I found the SAT a little difficult. I think other than that, like Arshia said, I'm really happy with my choice at the end of the day. And it also, like, a lot of it weighs on what you give as what you think of value in a university education. For me, it was going abroad and getting to a place where I could actually build a future. So for me, that was Canada. For you, it might be a different place based on your needs and preferences. So yeah, I think it's also heavily reliant on personal preference.
I would say fun, because like we have all these events going on and we have night outs going on. Occasionally, every society holds a pub crawl, so it's great fun. And another thing is, I would say it's friendly. I don't think I have met anyone who's like, oh yeah, I won't help you, or I'm going to be rude to you. Like, even people I didn't talk to much who were in my course or in my classes, if I had doubts, they'd always help me. But the university is quite beautiful. We have like a number of ponds, fountains, uh, and we have like this back route which we call the woods, because there's like a bunch of trees there and it's really pretty. Um, like I said, we had that our main building is that old England style building. There's even a meme about it looking like Hogwarts. So I think I find like these three the most striking factors about my university.
In Japan, the biggest issue is like trains stop running at around 11:45, 12 in the night. So if you do decide to go out and actually party or something, you have to go all the way into the city because we're on the outskirts of the city. So it's a 40-minute train ride.
So if I want to get into London, I do take a 40-minute train, but I don't find that too tough. Like the trains go on till like 2 a.m., I think. So I can spend like a long day in London before I head back. And it's just really fun to like be in that small. I think one of the differences between being in the city and being on a campus, like even though I would miss being in the city, is that you have the opportunity to mingle well with people from your own university. A missed opportunity that I would say is that I've noticed that students who are in the city of London, they get to mingle with students in other London universities, which I feel would have been good for my networking, but it didn't work out like that. I still do meet a lot of people, which is great.
We're like 30 minutes away from the heart of Vancouver. So we have like buses running to like 4 a.m. So even if you go out partying or like just go out in general, you have a way to get back regardless of the time.
Obviously, there are some days in Japan that like buses don't always come by times because like you have your national holidays in which you have only certain times for the buses. So if you want to go anytime between that, you're probably going to end up walking. Japan is like very reliant on walking too. So yeah, I mean, if you ever choose to come to Japan, you need to be mentally prepared to start walking everywhere.
And I would say that I'm not sure. Maybe you should see your university has this as well. But like we have a system. Basically, it's like a student-based thing, which is wild. But like even it's supposed to be it is supposed to be for safety, but people just use it if they live on like the opposite side of campus as well. They don't want to walk in the night. But it's supposed to be used for safety. But it's an app, and you can like request a Triton ride because UC San Diego our mascot is the Triton, so it's called a Triton ride, and you can like request it, and they usually come within 20 minutes, and then they just drop you off to your dorm. So that's I think super cool as well.
Like a ride, but we have a system where like you can have someone walk you back, like someone who'll come to walk with you in case you're like scared of walking back to dorm or something like that.
Our college doesn't have like housing on campus. Like our dorm is like around 2 kilometers away, right? So again, the thing about like Japan is it's a pretty safe country. So like you'll see me at 3 a.m. walking around anywhere and it's super chill. Plus like our convenience stores, we have one that's like literally not even 100 meters away from dorm. And then we have another one in 100 meters. So it's you have everything right there if you need it. So it's pretty convenient because it's a convenience store.